in January 2024, I decided to give up the partying, rugby lad, uni lifestyle and turn sober. I went 6 months sober and since then have only drunk on 3 occasions. So how did I go from the party boy to someone who hates the thought of drinking alcohol? In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why I believe giving up alcohol is the single greatest hack that you can use to excel and propel your lifestyle forward. And I have some pretty controversial views, so I'm looking forward to hearing in the comments section exactly what you think about it. And I want to be clear, I'm not someone who says you should go sober completely, but I do believe that going sober to start with on your alcohol giving up journey is important. But I encourage a very healthy relationship with alcohol. But let's get into it. So I've got my notes here, and the first thing that I controversially think about alcohol is you hear people saying, oh, I need a glass of wine or I need a beer. But I think the biggest problem with alcohol is it is adding something into your life as opposed to reducing things. So you're probably familiar with the phrase, oh, I need my Friday kick, or I need a glass of wine to take the edge off. And the first reason why I believe giving up alcohol is so important is because what you are doing is you are only adding things to your life. Then you have, say, stress, or you have, say, you're upset about something, or you're, say, miserable about something, and you then add alcohol in. And while that's good in the short term, because I'm sure it makes you feel better when you're having that drink, the problem is we should be viewing our lives by not adding more things, but taking things away. Alcohol is not going to fix the long-term stress, the long-term anxiety, and the long-term sadness that you are feeling. It is only a small fix. And I see it a bit like a diet. You know, if someone has an allergy and what they do is they reduce everything that person eats in order to then work out what the issue is. Well, the problem is instead of them doing that, it's like us with alcohol saying, okay, I'm going to go and give that person pills for this and pills for this and pills for this. And they can never work out what the actual problem is with the person with the allergy. And the same applies to alcohol. Is if you need that Friday evening drink, or if you need to celebrate if you're upset about something, or if you're upset about anything and you feel stressed and you want to have that beer, then the problem is that it's only adding to things, because you then require that beer in order to then feel okay. And the thing with alcohol, which I realized, is that I need to be getting caught to the root of the problem. Why am I stressed? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel anxious? And once I gave up alcohol and started actually addressing the problems in my life, I found I didn't need that Friday kick, because I don't have stress now in my life, or I have a lot less stress in my life because I know how to deal with it. I have a lot less of an emotional roller coaster because I know how to deal with it. So the biggest thing for me to start with of giving up alcohol is it means you actually address your problems, as opposed to using alcohol as a fix to kind of plaster over the problems. And that was what I found when I gave it up, was I now don't get as stressed because of the fact that I've dealt with it head on. I have coping mechanisms like exercise, like meditation, like doing things I'm passionate about, that mean that I don't get stressed, not the fact that my stress is counteracted by another substance. So reduction is the best thing that giving up alcohol does. It takes things out of your life, and you don't find that you need that Friday fix. I don't understand that Friday evening beer that everyone needs, because I don't need to have a beer. I love my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday equally, and Saturday and Sunday. The second is almost another thing that I found, which is people often say, I need a few drinks for confidence. I need a few drinks to feel myself, to loosen up. Again, the second reason why I gave up alcohol is because personally I found that I was relying on alcohol in order to give me a social boost, so that then it came to the point where when I was sober, I realized that alcohol was what made me fun. Alcohol was what made me feel like I was my true self, because I was drinking. If I was in uni, I was drinking 3 times a week. But if on the weekend, if you're spending the whole week going, all right, this is chill, and then on the Friday I'm going to let myself loose, I'm going to be fun, everyone in the group's going to like me. The problem is you teach yourself that you're only able to be fun and bring value when you are drunk. And what I thought is like, why don't I just work on my confidence? Why don't I just work on my personality and, work on being a value add to a group all the time, not just when I've had a beer? Because then you find that on a Tuesday afternoon coffee or a Thursday evening dinner or a Sunday morning coffee and brunch with friends, that you bring as much value as you do the whole time, not just on a Friday night when you've had 5 beers in you and you're suddenly feeling confident. So the second reason why I loved giving up alcohol is because I found that sobriety delivers what alcohol promises, which is a boost in confidence. When you learn how to socialize without alcohol, you believe that you don't need alcohol to actually socialize in the first place. You can go to the pub with your friends and sit and have a lime soda and talk in an authentic way that you would normally do, not needing 3 beers to be put down you before you feel like you can make your first funny joke. And I always found that enjoyable, and now I'll happily go to the pub. I'll happily go on nights out with people that are sober, and I'll happily dance sober because of the fact that I've worked on it. It's not something that came to me overnight, but it's a personal development thing that means that I now don't need to wait and go to the bar. And my favorite story about this is I was at a concert once with some friends, and I could tell that I was sober, and I could tell that they were feeling a bit like kind of anxious about dancing, and they all went and were like, okay, I need to go and get a drink. And they all went to the bar, and they missed this song that came on from an unbelievable like collab artist, and they missed like an amazing song. And like the people of us who stayed in the crowd, we were having an unbelievable time. Like the song was great, and they missed that song all because of the fact that they had to go to the bar to literally get a shot of vodka to chuck down their throats to feel less self-conscious about drinking. And that example showed me that I want to never have to feel like I need to go to a bar to be able to feel the confidence to then be able to come back and enjoy the song, because A, it's horrible to rely on it, but B, they also missed a great song because of their reliance on alcohol. And that was a kind of needle, or like a pin in the coffin, I think that's the saying, that showed me that I want to work on my confidence outside of drinking. Okay, third reason why giving up alcohol has been a game changer for me. And I say giving up alcohol, I'll get on to exactly what my stance is on alcohol in a bit, but effectively I see that I've given up alcohol, right? The third is the health benefits. I'm sure you're sick of people telling you, like, the health benefits are amazing. I want to be super tangible about what health benefits I found, because these actually make a material difference in your life. Everyone knows that alcohol is bad for you, but what is giving up alcohol? Like, what's it actually going to do for your health? And the first thing that I would say is I'm not ill anymore. Like, I don't, and when I mean ill, like I have, I live in Bali, like I occasionally have a stomach issue, which happens here. But what I mean by that is I don't have the illnesses that I got used to when I was living and working in London. Be that a runny nose, be that a cough, slight fevers. The illnesses that I've realized that people just normalize. The people that I was living with in London, they would often just be ill, just like over a few days. They would spend Monday and Tuesday feeling crap. They would have runny noses, they'd have coughs. And I just realized that after 6 months of being sober, I actually just hadn't been ill at all. Like, I genuinely had not had a runny nose. I don't have coughs anymore. I very, very rarely get ill. And normally when it is like an illness, it's something that I've ingested. So something, out of my control in terms of food. But the illnesses just, they just go. And it's the same with people that I know out here. A lot of people, it's a big like no alcohol culture out here. And a lot of people that I know out here, they also just don't get ill. They don't have those repeated small illnesses that weigh on their lives. So that's one of the illnesses, the health benefits that I've seen. And then the second is the anxiety. Oh my God, like the hangxiety, you'll know hangxiety, the anxiety you get with a hangover. That's awful, right? And that actually plays into your overall life that I found, because you end up feeling anxious throughout the week. People don't recover until like Monday or Tuesday if they've had a big Friday or Saturday night, and they feel really anxious. And I often talked to people who would say, oh, I feel super anxious. And I'm like, or they would be having mental health problems. And like, I've had them in the past, and I often talk to people who have them to try and be helpful. And one of the biggest things I say is like, have you considered cutting out alcohol? Because alcohol is literally a drug which causes anxiety. It literally chemically causes anxiety. I'm not going to try and be a doctor and explain why, but it's a depressant, right? And that causes you to have mood fluctuations. And the anxiety that I was getting while I was drinking, I'd feel unbelievable while I was out, but the next day questioning my decisions, the day after still feeling slightly not myself. I now don't feel like I don't have the mental problems that I used to have. I have so much more mental clarity. I have so much more stabilization in how I feel in my life. And that is so much more important to me, that I feel great all the time and not giving in to feeling unbelievable on the beers, but then feeling awful for the next 3 days. So that's the other health benefit. And then I guess the last thing I'd say is like the health benefit in terms of my overall physique and how I feel and my performances in the gym and running have all got so much better as well. Like, I'm not someone who's obsessed with fitness, but at the same time, I like to see progress, like in terms of physique, but also in terms of like lifting and running and times. And I have just exponentially increased all of them. And that's nice because it makes you feel like you're having progress in your life. When you're running faster times, when you're lifting heavier weights, when you feel more flexible, all of those health benefits have been incredible. So in terms of health, I'm the best I've ever felt. I'm the happiest I've ever felt. And I'm the most stable I've ever felt. And for someone like me who has had problems in the past, it is amazing to be able to have that confidence and stability in my life and my health. So that's brilliant. The fourth reason that giving up alcohol is great, and I'm so interested to see if you think these are super controversial, if you're like, you agree, so please do let me know in the comments. But the fourth reason why I love the fact of my no alcohol drinking days is my progress that I make. And I want to kind of split this into 3 categories. The first is business. And if you've been following this channel, following my story, then you'll know that I've basically in the last 6 months gone from a corporate 9-to-5er who absolutely hated his life to building a 6-figure business through consulting and helping coaches with social media. And it's incredible the amount of productivity difference that I have. Like, I can bang out a 10-12 hour work day, but bear in mind I love what I'm doing, so I'm not feeling like it's a chore, but I can bang out that with full mental clarity, with tons of motivation, and my business has just exploded. And I could not have done that with alcohol. And I was on one of my clients said to me the other day, I just don't have time to build this business that you're talking about. I work 9-to-5 and I don't have the time to do it. And then I asked him, what do you do on Friday evening or Saturday morning? And he said, well, last Friday it was a friend's birthday and we had a big night. And then Saturday I was pretty hungover. Sunday I wasn't too productive. And I said, so the difference is in a year I have, let's say you lose a day and a half. Like, let's be kind of, let's be constrictive with it and say you lose a day and a half every week from drinking of like full productivity. So that is basically saying roughly 75 days a year you lose compared to someone else. And if you are wanting to go out and have fun, then you don't need to drink. But if you want to boost your productivity and boost your business, then 75 days a year, that's like 2.5 months of extra productivity and extra days that you are just giving to alcohol. So my productivity in my business has only exploded because of alcohol. And it's the first thing that I said to that client. And I also say to people that I work with, which is, if you are serious about building this business, then just give up alcohol for a year or 2 years. And then you'll get to the point where you have the capital and you have the time to be able to say, okay, I'm going to have a few drinks, because I know a lot of successful entrepreneurs who are making 100K, 200K a month, and they are now able to drink because of the fact that they have teams doing things for them. And I have that even now. Like, I've got 4 people working for me, and I have the ability to actually go and say, okay, I can write off tomorrow morning. I still don't, because I still want to take my business to new levels, but I could do that if I wanted to. Whereas at the start of building the business, you need every ounce of motivation, productivity, and time that you can dedicate to building it. So That's the first bit of progress that I've seen. The second is habit forming, because the worst thing that alcohol does is it takes you out of your routine. It takes you out of doing things like waking up in the morning, exercising, eating healthy. It takes you out of the habits and the routine that you build. And since giving up alcohol, I've been able to basically design every day to the way that I want to, which is exercising, eating healthy, deep work in the morning, and then so on through the day. And when you drink, you're pulling yourself out of that routine and those habits. And those habits are the things that either compound positively or compound negatively. So exercising every single morning means that I compound positively the exercise that I do. And that has a massive difference over the span of a month and 6 months and a year. And now I have the ability to just say, okay, I will be able to know that I can do that every day. Whereas when you have a hangover and you know this feeling, like you have a hangover, the thought of working the next day is miserable. The thought of exercising the next day is miserable. The thought of eating healthy is not appealing. You just want a greasy big old burger. And all of those things just add up and they compound negatively. So the habits that you are able to build when you give up alcohol and you keep the routine of feeling good every day is brilliant. So that's great. And just while I'm saying this, I've thought of another one, which I want to kind of add on to that habits thing, is the momentum. Because I would speak to people back in London who would build up great habits on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They'd be smashing the gym. They'd do a bit of they'd read before they go to bed. They'd build up all these habits. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'd throw it all out the window. They'd get drunk, spend a load of money, eat crap. And then by the time it gets to Monday again, it's like, I've got to start the gym routine. I've got to get back into it. You need that activation energy to get back into it. And having to do that every single week is mentally exhausting for your brain because of the activation energy that you need in order to start those habits again. So the momentum that you build is infectious, because I've basically exercised. I mean, I must have exercised every day for the last 6 months, like minus maybe 2 days of being ill last week. And the momentum and the positive energy I feel towards my life now when I wake up every single morning, I know I'm going to exercise. I know by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to feel unbelievable. I just feel so much momentum and energy in my life that is infectious. And it means that I'm super happy and I'm super I feel great. I just feel amazing while I exist in this world because of that momentum that I've built up. So that's great as well. The last bit of progress I want to speak about is the relationships progress, because one of the things you're probably thinking right now is my friends are going to hate me. How the hell am I ever going to date anybody? I need alcohol for all that and sort of thing. And I tell you what, and this is a really controversial opinion, is giving up alcohol has been the single best filter I've ever had for my friendships. And I love all my friends, whether they drink or they don't, but I've found that it's been a great filter of who do I actually enjoy spending time with, or who was just a drinking buddy? Because a lot of people I have a lot of very fond memories of drinking with, but then it strips down to do I enjoy the fact that I could sit down and have a chat with them sober? Do I feel like I have a deeper connection with someone? And truthfully, a lot of those relationships just turned out to be the fact that I didn't have that deeper connection with people. And giving up alcohol has been a force to distancing myself with those people because of the fact that A, they don't want to spend time with me, and B, I don't feel like I get a lot of energy from spending time with them. I feel like it's a chore or I don't enjoy it. And that has made me really value the friendships that I do have, because they are built on deeper connections other than just sharing a beer with people. So giving up alcohol has helped me basically find the people that I want to know for the rest of my life. And that's not that I say to people who do drink that I don't want to be their friends, but it's forced me to really work out who I enjoy spending time with. And some of those people, they still drink, but I still enjoy their time when they don't drink. And that's been great. And the other thing is dating. I can't pretend that it's not hard to date without alcohol. The biggest, I was seeing someone, and it was definitely a case where the fact that we didn't drink made it harder for us to open up to each other, or maybe made it harder for her to open up to me. But it's a great filter, because I find that I want to be around people who prioritize all of the things that I've mentioned above in this video. And being around people who don't drink means that I'm much more aligned to the people that I want to date. So people who don't drink also people who care about business, who care about health, who have super amounts of confidence, who have done personal development so they don't have the stress. And that's all of the people that I want to spend time with. I don't want to be spending time and dating girls who go out 3 times a week and associated those behaviors because of what I believe it means about their personality. And that again is super controversial, but I'm allowed to pick who I want to date and who I feel aligned to, and that's just what I found with my relationship. So although yes, I might not have the fun nights out and the cheeky kisses in the club, what I do have is I feel like genuine connection to the people that I spend time with, and that's a great thing, and it's a much easier way to find a life partner, which is what I'm thinking about right now, not the casual hookups that come with alcohol. Then the last one I want to talk about is personal integrity, because this is a hard one to speak about, but I don't know about you, but I just felt like I wasn't a good person on alcohol. Like I wasn't an awful human being. Like I didn't do anything morally awful, but I just didn't feel like I was doing things that I agreed with. Like I would, just stupid things. Like I would try and steal drinks from the bar, and I would, try and not even stealing, because that's illegal. Like I wouldn't do illegal things, but I would just act in a way that I wasn't proud of it myself. Like I would say things that I didn't feel great about the next day. I would do things and act in ways that I didn't feel proud of in myself. I would play up to crowds, and I would try and be the big man, and I would occasionally put people down and make fun of people because of it. And ever since giving up alcohol, I felt a personal integrity shift, which I'm proud of the person that I am now, and I'm proud of how I act, and I'm proud of what I say to people and how I hold myself. And that's because of the self-development work that has come with giving up the alcohol. So that's a really nice benefit that I didn't even realize, is that I'm proud of the person that I am now because of the fact that I am my true self, as opposed to hiding behind 5 beers every Friday. So that's a great little add-on as well. So if you are thinking about giving up alcohol, then you will feel like better as a person. You'll feel more aligned. I know that word is super spiritual, but like super woo-woo sometimes, but you will feel more aligned to how you want to be as a human being. And that's just, again, a nice momentum thing as well. So I'm not telling you need to give up alcohol. In fact, the 6 months that I gave up alcohol was amazing, because I learned all the skills and the patterns of how to avoid drinking and how to build the confidence. And now I gave up the sobriety title because I want to basically choose when I drink. But that 6 months of sobriety showed me that I don't need to drink, and now I just don't see any place for alcohol in my life. So I'm not saying you should go completely sober, but I do believe a good period of sobriety is important, and then a healthy relationship where you realize that you don't actually want to do it in the first place is great. Thanks for your time.